Hi everyone. This is my first official YouTube video, and I wanted to answer a bunch of questions that are frequently asked on my TikTok and my Instagram and other places in the internet sphere, and I thought that it would be a good place to just kind of compile them all here. Please keep in mind that this is my first attempt at a full-length YouTube video. I am using my phone and I'm using these little mini mics, so I'm sorry if the quality is not very good. But I promise as time goes on, the quality will get better. So if you didn't know me, hello, my name is Kayla. I make sun catchers and jewelry, and I kind of specialize in like stainless steel and very durable items. And I also have an emphasis on natural items, thrifted items, upcycled items. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, make sure you stick around to watch the entire video. So, to start off, I have a little list here on my iPad of all of my most frequently asked questions and also my favorite materials. So, if you've been wondering what tools I use, where I get some of my stuff, this is a good video for you to watch. So, first of all, I get a lot of questions about where I get my beads, where I get my chain, where I get my wire, jump rings, stuff like that. And a lot of it I just get at like normal big box stores that other people get their stuff at, i.e., Joanne, places on Etsy that are like probably just reselling from other places, um, and things like Rio Grande Jewelry and Findings.com. Those are all really great places, but of course, they're supporting, other than the Etsy, like big corporations. And I know that not everyone wants to do that. And I do have an emphasis on secondhand, thrifting, upcycling, and stuff like that. So I want to tell you a few places you can find items like that as well. So, for starters, I know we don't really like Facebook, but Facebook Marketplace is really good for people that are getting rid of old jewelry. Maybe they had a garage sale or something like that and they didn't really sell any of their jewelry or any of their items. It's also a really good place for watches if you're into upcycling watches. And there's also a lot of Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are probably the best for this, and you don't really have to be any kind of particular artist. A lot of good groups that, oh my god, my light keeps going out. I'm really sorry. Um, the funny thing is, this is a brand new light, and the last light that I had overheated and almost started my house on fire, and I fear that is about to happen with this one as well. I'm gonna use this little guy. I was really hoping that this wouldn't happen in this video. Um, I kind of waited to post my video for a long time because of the light issues. It is very warm and keeps shutting off, so we'll do some testing later. But anyway, back to it. A lot of good groups are like fairy core, cottage core groups. And then there's also one that I really like called ADHD Craft Swap and Shop. You don't need to have ADHD to be a part of this group, but there's a lot of really good stuff in that group. There's also not very good stuff, but what people will do is they will make a post, say that they're having $2 strung beads or $2 crystal beads or something like that, and then they will, or charms, and they will list them in the comments, and then you can just say claim, and then you can get them through there. Also, if you have other jewelry friends or other artist friends, a lot of the time they will post on their Instagram story to give away some stuff, or something to that effect. And I know a lot of people don't have thrift stores near them. You can buy things online through things like ThreadUp and Depop and things like that. It's, again, not going to be that great because they are already going to be picked through, so you're not going to find any like vintage silver or anything like that unless you are getting from a buyer that doesn't really know what they're looking at. So that's that. Um, and if you'd like to see a video on how to upcycle jewelry or what kind of jewelry is upcyclable, I could absolutely make that as well. But for now, we're just going to stick to the FAQs, and we're already quite far in this video. So next, some good online stores. I don't know if you can hear Mr. Mars, my kitty cat, screaming. I closed the door on him so he wouldn't disrupt us, but what do you know? So back to the online stores for gems, crystals, beads, and findings. I would definitely recommend Rio Grande, jewelryandfindings.com, Etsy shops, and you can also shop locally. I really like to shop locally, but I know that there's not always a store near you, and by locally I mean small businesses and not like Hobby Lobby or whatever. But that being said, um, there are a lot of local shops near me. There's a few, and if you travel outside of your city, you can absolutely find some more. And I know that that isn't accessible to absolutely everyone, but it's just a really good option and a way to support your local economy and other small businesses. And not all the time will they have like rare items or unusual items, but you're going to find a wider selection of stuff than if you just go to somewhere like Hobby Lobby, where they aren't a good company and also like dye their beads and lie about what beads they are selling you. Um, what makes my pieces so durable is another question that I get asked fairly often. I use stainless steel. So I use 22 gauge stainless steel wire, which is my favorite. It's thin enough that it's malleable and easy to work with while also being durable enough that it's not going to break. And I also use like wire wrapping techniques. They're not necessarily wire wrapping techniques, but I'm not sure what to call them. I do not use a one-step looper. I do not like one-step loopers. I want nothing to do with them. I do not like the open loop. And that wire wrapping looping technique combined with the stainless steel and also heavy gauge jump rings makes it very durable. Stainless steel does not rust, it does not tarnish, it does not turn skin green, and that is the beauty of stainless steel. You can also get it wet. How to process driftwood for sun catchers is another request that I get a lot, and I will do a full video on that in the next coming weeks. As well as a soldering video because I do get some questions about soldering, and I did prep 10 pendants to make some soldered pieces with. So if you'd like to see more of that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Tips for finding driftwood: go to a beach. Make sure that the beach allows you to take rocks or driftwood. I know that there's a lot of state parks that do not allow that. So please don't do that, and please respect the local areas that you are gathering items from. But if you go to like a public use lake and there's some driftwood, that is a really good place to get it. And the magic with driftwood is that it doesn't have a lot of processing needed. It's generally not going to be like moldy or have any funk going on to it, which is really common with just like pieces of wood. And you don't have to strip the bark, you don't need to peel it, and it's already sanded, so if you don't want to sand it, you don't need to. And now onto my favorite materials. So this is kind of not going to be as detailed as I would like it to be, and you can find all of these materials in the things that I listed before, like jewelry and findings and things like that. Um, so for crystals and higher end glassware, I really like jewelry and finding, Etsy shops, and local shops. So this is for, you really want a specific crystal, you really want a specific charm or something like that. Local shops, jewelry and findings. Rio Grande is really good for like gemstones, crystals, but it is a lot more expensive. Silver, things like that. And Etsy shops And local shops, of course, they're going to be less detailed in their descriptions about what they are selling. So you're not always going to find, like sterling silver, you're not always going to find the grade of stainless steel that you're looking for, things like that. So it really definitely is good to be well versed and well familiarized with the metals, crystals, and things that you need. So I would recommend doing some research on every individual item before you make a purchase, because especially with places like Amazon, if you get like jump rings or something on Amazon, please, please, please read the description time and time again and go back into the reviews and make sure that the reviews are consistent with what the material is. Make sure that they're not changing color or anything like that, because it's really easy for them to just lie about what they're selling because they know that people will still buy it. And then, it might not tarnish or rust when you own it and when you're making the piece, but then when you send it off to your customer, it'll start tarnishing and rusting and things like that. So for hardware, again, you can get hardware in a lot of different places. I unfortunately get my hardware from Amazon. I do not like supporting Amazon, but I currently just don't have the resources to buy in larger quantities. So I get my wire, I get my chain, and I get my jump rings from Amazon. Um, and like S hooks and stuff like that. Again, there are better places to shop, and I would not recommend shopping on Amazon if you do not have to. It's just not necessary. If you have a little extra money to spend on materials, absolutely do so. And I also would not recommend getting anything other than stainless steel off of Amazon. And even then, the stainless steel from Amazon is a little iffy, and you need to be extremely sure about what you are purchasing. I'm not going to link the products or anything down below that I do use because I don't want to support Amazon and I don't want you guys to also support Amazon, but please do your research when it comes to any of these materials and any materials that I didn't even talk about. Like if you're using silver plated copper wire and stuff like that, please, please, please do your research on that and know that those things, cheaper materials, will tarnish, will have allergenic properties to them. So keep that in mind. For polymer clay and my polymer clay craft items, I use Sculpey Souffle and Sculpey Primo. Not very revolutionary or anything, but I do really prefer the Sculpey Souffle over the Sculpey Primo. And then I just have like a basic kit for all of the tools. For all of the tools, you don't really need anything special. And then my resin I also get on Amazon. You can probably find resin and other things other places, but I started out with a really small kit and I didn't really want to spend money on anything higher end to start out. And since I'm pretty new to the polymer clay world, I didn't really want to splurge all that much. So for driftwood and other wood items, with these sun catchers, I use grapevine wreaths. You can find these just about anywhere. And I like to use a lot of different sizes of them, and they're really fun and just give a little bit more texture than something like a stick or driftwood. I really like to use bone beads for my sun catchers as well. I don't know the like ethical or sustainable aspect of using these bone beads, but they're in a local bead shop that I like to support, so I usually pick them up. And I get often 2 inches and 4 inches, and I really love them. I think they're really cool, and I've designed a lot of my own unique hangers with them over time, so they've just kind of become a part of my shop. And for driftwood, I would recommend going to lakes, like I said earlier, that allow you to take driftwood. If you're not sure about the whole situation, just don't take any. I'm sure you can find it online if you're willing to buy it, or ask in like a local Facebook group or something like that if anyone has any driftwood to lend you or to give you. Because there are a lot of driftwood collectors out there, and it's definitely worth asking around if you're unsure about where to get it. I also have a friend that has sent me some beautiful pieces of driftwood from the state of Washington. They're incredible pieces. They are so beautiful and I really like them. So if you have a friend that lives in a different state that you would like to get driftwood from, that might be like more of a hardwood, or, maybe you want some birch or something like that, definitely ask your friends. And that pretty much wraps up this frequently asked questions slash my favorite materials video. If you have any other questions, please ask them down below and I would be happy to answer them. And if you'd like to see anything in particular in the future, let me know. There will be a soldering tutorial-esque video coming up very soon, as well as a driftwood processing video. So in the driftwood processing video, I will be taking some locally sourced driftwood that is like pretty old. It's pretty old. So it's kind of spongy on the inside. It's also there's some pieces that are really hard. And I will be sanding them, using linseed oil to seal them, and showing you how I make the hangers. So if you're interested in seeing something like that, definitely hit the subscribe button, drop a like down below, and follow me elsewhere on the internet because I am more active on places like TikTok and Instagram. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a beautiful day. Bye!